This meeting is being recorded.
What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy E Short coming to you from his man room, the usual spot. Um, it's the E and L Sports Talk Show. Got my homeboy Les Miller in the house. What's up, Les?
What's up, E? How you, man?
Chilling, man. Doing well as usual. We got a special guest today. One of our brothers, ball players from back in Brooklyn, back in the day. Jefferson High School, Fordham University, great William Calhoun. How you doing, Will?
All right, everything great, man.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, let everybody, who's the viewing audience know about Calhoun.
Okay. I kind of grew up in two basketball fertile soil, Bed-Stuy and Brownsville, East New York. So I went to 258, played on the two little 258 tournaments they had there in Bed-Stuy. And then we moved to Pickett and Elton, which is in East New York, Brownsville, a few blocks from Jeff. And of course, I went to Jeff for 3 years and played on the varsity there and starred with Sid and a whole lot of really good ball players there. And then I went on to Fordham and played against you guys, and you guys beat us up. But we played some really good talent at Fordham University, and I was a 4-year letterman there, and then graduated and played in a couple of tournaments for a while, not many, and then started to work for us, trying to get that paper. That's about it.
Yeah, that's how that works usually, man. It's like at some point in time, you start dragging along and it's like what you got to do. So you make that change.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that was kind of the plan with me from Jump Street, because my mom didn't play that. She didn't know what basketball really was. I mean, she knew the sport. She didn't know it went to the level that it went to, you could get a scholarship. Of course, my mother did a great job raising us. And Andrea Dolores Calhoun raised 3 college graduates from the club. And in case you don't know what the club is, that's welfare.
Okay.
And my sister's ridiculous. She was a retired teacher, principal, masters, who's who in America. So when I went to Fordham, I wasn't impressing anybody. So, and my brothers, same thing. They were all, I was kind of like the black sheep of the family. Just playing ball and graduating was like the lower level of what we accepted for our families.
Yeah. But it's funny thing, it's kind of like a common theme that we hear in the show about people always, and no one sticks to it, and speaks to it a lot, but there's always a mentioning of what our parents did for us. And that narrative that I'm hearing, Les is hearing from people that we interview, it's totally different than what the society usually throws at us, man. It's like, we hear about our parents did the right thing. Our parents were doing, they didn't play that. Like I always hear people say, my mom didn't play around. My dad didn't play around, right, Les? We're constantly hearing that. Our peers, all of us, we grew up, no matter what economic situation, the parenting of us was, people did a great job. And I want to honor them. I just, give them something because we turn out to be good men. I always say that, man, and you go from way back from 258 to now, huh?
Yeah, man.
I remember those tournaments at 258.
Now, we had some ball players at 258.
Yeah, I know.
Let me just say this. Well, some of y'all might know Curtis Epperson. You do, I know. Curtis Epperson. It was me. It was 2 or 3 other ball players that was better than us, actually. Robert Connors, Vernon Wilson. There's a kid named Jeffrey Sterndervan. And we just grew a little bit more and just kept playing, me and Kurt. Yeah. But we were probably in the top 7 of that class. And then, of course, the older guys were like Bob, Larry Ponce from that era, Gary Jones, who else? Oh, and John Higgins, who's to me was the best ball player that nobody knows about ever. That's
Okay,
what I
who's
said.
John,
Wow.
John Higgins? Where did he play?
John Higgins, I'm gonna just give you the real quick on John Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
John Higgins I was in the 6th grade. John Higgins was in the 7th grade, and then Bub, Anthony Watkins, Bub was in the 8th grade. Now he was great. This guy, and they played. Al. He's in the same year as Al King, John Higgins.
Our age. He's our age.
Right.
Yeah.
So he went to play them. This was the junior high school, so I guess this was a Sands matchup with 258. Now I couldn't go, but the next day they say Higgins got hurt. Now this guy played guard. He was a 6'3". He was the perfect weight, size, and abilities, every ability, shooting, everything of a guard. 6'3". Like he didn't have to change his positions to move up, in the different levels from college to pros. He was 6'3". And they said Al tried to dunk. He blocked the dunk, knocked himself out because he hit his head on the ring.
What? Wow.
This guy never played.
We're talking junior high school, though.
Junior high school. He could do everything and had the physical. It was like it wasn't a thing he couldn't do. Now, this guy never played after the 7th grade. What happened was, he knocked himself out. They took him to the hospital, all that. And then they found out something was wrong and he had cancer.
What?
Yep, and they had to eventually amputate his leg and all. It was crazy. He never played since the 7th grade. Wow. And I remember he was the guy. Like there were guys who were great and guys who were great. He was like 2 levels above that. Like I remember one time we were playing 1-on-1 and I beat him. After I hit the winning shot, I ran out of the wide. I ran out of the wide outside on Monroe Street saying yes. Because then I knew I could, if I could beat him, even though, beating one guy once means nothing. But he was such on a high level that when I think I was like maybe 11 then, 12. I knew I could
tell the world.
I could beat the game. Because I literally beat John Higgins, one of the best players. And I just want y'all to know, like people talk about errors and stuff. And I don't know if y'all ever see me on Facebook, but Facebook, I have a little compartment surrounded by greatness.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought I was good. I'm not good. I really didn't achieve anything. It's just there's so many great people around me. You're gonna be great. Just the 2 of y'all right here. But check, this is when I was in Bed-Stuy, 75 Monroe Street, right down the block from the Bedford-Stuy YMCA. This is my block. On my side of the block was Mike and Pete Davis. Okay. Next door to me was Alan Cruz, played on Wingate. So a varsity player, a college All-American and pro, Mike and Pete Davis. Across the street was Richie Candy, who played with Lachlan.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, I know Rich. Yeah.
Mike Calvin was 2 doors down from him. Mike Calvin from Kelly and Jelly from Soul in the Hole. Fat Jelly, Mike Calvin.
Yeah.
He did work in high school. And then behind me, our backyards connected was Arnold Freeman. So, and he played in Lachlan too. So I had all these varsity players. Like you could almost unless you I'm not going to play ball and I'm not going to be good. If you just open your eyes, shut up, listen, and watch, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people don't do that and behave yourself.
There you go, Les.
My mom's took care of that part.
Yeah. There you go, Les. There you go, Les. The same, just like when we grew up, the same thing. You spin around 360. It's like this guy, that guy, this guy, next door, across the street, around the corner. And it's like, because we always tell this story all the time. Me, Les, Riley, Andre Gaddy. I don't know if you remember Felix Tertullian that played for Erasmus. He was my height. Yes. Felix and Calvin Hicks were all supposed to go to Erasmus together. We're all the same age. All of them, 1977 high school graduation year, and we all were supposed to be at Erasmus. It's crazy, man. There's so much talent was in Brooklyn then. You're right. I mean, no matter who you were, if you competed, you became a who's who because everybody was a who's who.
Everybody was good. And if you listened, if you learned and listened, see, at the Y, Now, just so you know the history of the Bedford Y, we talked about Mike and Pete Davis. I had Gene Smith was my coach, was everybody's coach at the Y.
Okay.
Okay.
He was like a police officer and he coached at the Y. He coached like Connie Hawkins, everybody from Connie Hawkins all the way down to the lowest guy at the Y team. And we had some incredible, and all you got to do, there was a guy nobody knows about who had the record until now. He had 53 in midgets. Now, I don't know if you know, I think midgets is what, 7-minute quarters or 6 minutes, some crazy amount.
Right,
and he didn't have
right.
3-pointers then, don't forget.
Right.
He had this guy, and I learned how to come to the ball from him. Like if you're intelligent enough to know that you don't know nothing, and you got to learn from other people, because there's a wino on the corner that knows how to do something. If not, drink wine and still live. He knows that. So if you go and say, okay, I'm gonna learn something from this guy. He may not know everything, but he knows something. Let me learn that from him, and that from you. Let me learn this from Eric Short. Let me learn this, and then you put it all together. You're a total package. But a lot of people don't want to do that.
Right. You know, I mean, not anymore. But back then, there was multifaceted players where it was more level of competition every time you got on the court. Everybody was kind of learning the same thing, and everybody was held to a standard. So all of those things make what you're explaining, Calhoun, very easy for a person to do if you're paying attention. And that's what we all did, man, all the time. We didn't have a choice because our coaches made us. They were watching us as we're watching them. Well, why are you not paying attention, Eric? Look at me when I'm talking to you. I mean, that kind of stuff. So, and then you find out that guys, like you said, guys that you would never know were like really good ball players, man. And it's like, this guy is like, he hangs out on the corner. You know, you always see him at games, you know, scruffy looking. But back in the day, you find out that the dude was like nice as hell, you know. And it's,
but I think,
I'm sorry.
I think today though, man, what the problem is that a guy figures he's got some talent, right? And he gets a personal trainer and he goes hide. You know, it's like you're not even sharing your knowledge with your guys in your neighborhood. Right. You got a personal trainer, you go by yourself. We go to the park and we hang out. We play ball together. We teach each other. We shake each other. We laugh. You know, there was no real jealousy like today, man. It's like, no, I'm gonna get mine. Forget about you. You know, and I think that's taken away from the game. You know, nobody goes to the park anymore.
I do think that's needed, though. That selfishness, I think that's needed, to be a little bit selfish in your maybe in your development of your game, to be a little bit selfish. But I understand what you're saying as far as you got to have something to sharpen your skills against. You know,
right, exactly.
You need a sharpener. You have to hit it against something. That's why when I played with the Ravens, like a couple of, you know, once I started playing, because really I was a chubby, or now they say husky. They said I was fat. Was never a team, including 4 of them, that didn't want me to lose weight. But for some reason, I was fat and overweight. But anyway, you know, when it changed from the overweight, husky, chubby guy to the guy can play, that's when it changed to, okay, now I'm understanding the game and people want me. And then it's a whole different scenario. But I played with the Ravens and I could have went somewhere else. Once I hit that next level, and I stayed with the Ravens for a lot of reasons. Coach Sam Hanger, God bless the dead, Ruben Lugo, and Anthony Tricky Rick Jones was our coaches, and they just did everything. They nurtured us. Sometimes you need to nurture. You know, you coach the body, but you got to coach the mind and soul to that spirit. It goes out into the universe. You got to coach that. And when you do that, sometimes you get a better overall, maybe not ball player, but human being.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then how'd you end up playing with me on Riverside?
Well, what happened was, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Like, I think
other than the fact that your game is nice, I mean, that's understood.
No, I know what you mean, but going and playing. Well, what happened is, you know, like as you move up and you say, okay, this guy's nice, this guy's kind of nice, this guy's nice. And I started playing, and we started playing against Riverside and everything. So I would have a good game here, or I play against the Gauchos, which was we were more like a neighborhood team. And then we got Sid. We just happened to luck up that when I moved 5 blocks from Sidney Green in East New York. He was on Pitkin Avenue. I was on Pitkin and Elton, like 4 blocks away. So then I went to Jeff. My mother went to Jeff. So that was like an open thing. And then they had a college discovery program. So that was written. That was done already. That was a done deal. So then when he decided to come to Jeff, so it was me, and then it was Bradshaw and Doc Rett and Nate Andrews and Junior Morrison. We kind of like all clicked together. Then we started winning. I really never thought that much of myself. I was in like I had a great publicist and a hype man, which was Sam Hang and Sidney Green. Sid brought all the people and scouts there, and then Sam was like, Houn. It kind of like caught on, and then the whole thing was, oh, the guy's not bad. We'll look at him later, and that's cool.
No. Hold on. Whoa. They never had your butt on them, man. That's bullshit. But I done had your butt on me, man. And believe me, man, you seal me, I'm done.
No. We're not talking about playing. We're talking about the next level and what they perceive and what they knew. Like,
I know. I'm messing with you, though. I got you.
Right. That's what they're saying. So they're like, for lack of a better word, I was an early Charles Barkley, like a Zion. Back in that time, you had to be more so of a thinner, leaner player. And I wasn't that. Whether you can say we can argue whether I was fat or not, I wasn't that guy. I was a little slow, but I knew where to be and when to be. And that's, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what it was. And then they thought I just played inside. They didn't know I had other skills. Because I just played inside, they thought I could just play inside. I was doing it because that was my best attribute at the time because of Gene Smith. Like I said, all the fundamentals. Like the reason why I was ahead of my game for most big, I'm only 6'5", but because of my weight, my strength and everything, they had me as like a power forward, pretty much a power forward up until like in high school, I'm a power forward. Legit, at 6'5", could jump pretty good. So I had all those skills from the Y, reverse, like most people know how to pivot, but they don't know reverse pivots, things of that nature, how to pivot out from the rebound and how to outlet automatically left and right hand. Like Gene Smith, we would literally, this is the coach from the Y, because he was old school. He shot a set shot to get you in the right frame of mind of who he was. He shot set shots when he challenged us on like a 3-on-3. He would literally shoot almost like half-court set shots and make most of them. So you had to be on him, but he would practice passing for 20 minutes in an hour practice. So if you're practicing passing for 20 minutes, chest pass, bounce pass, left hand, overhead, baseball, you're not only learning how to pass, you're learning how to catch and receive the ball. So as a big guy, now my hands are better than every big guy in the city who plays like I play. Maybe not a guy like Les who's a little more thin, who does a little moving more, but just in general. So I had the handle of all of those guys as far as catching, receiving, pivoting, passing. So I had the total game, even though I didn't always, like there were a few games in high school and college where I showed I had all the attributes, but it was almost like a surprise that I could do. Like I literally played, I got to get there to Fordham. I don't want to get there because we don't want to talk about LIU.
No, but the word out on you was
and y'all beating us.
Yeah, but the word out on you is like, and it's funny. Well, it's not funny because I knew, but it's like I'm saying, like, do not leave this guy open, man. I don't care what you do, because he commanded the glass, commanded like straight up, shots. So you cannot give him room. And plus, when you show, everybody always commits, man. I always say, like, damn, Houn, like every single time, always like that. You convince people and then they're done. Then they're done.
That's a pearl right there, that head fake. You got you got to do that.
Yeah, and it's like, but that was the thing. It's like, do not give him, once he catches it, do not give him room. Don't give him room. And it was like, and it's like, because if you do, you're in trouble, man. And that's the same. And it's funny because remember Earl Knight, that played at Alexander Hamilton? He had the same stigma attached to him. He was strong, like the Adrian Dantley kind of player.
That's who I think about when I think about Houn.
Yeah, but it's like, but he get typecast, right? And so then it's like they don't know. Like, and Earl Knight was on LIU, and he was like first team all city in all New York. And it's like he never got any playing time with us at LIU, hardly ever. But it's like you practice against him, and he's hitting jumpers on you, like, yo, coach would never put him in, but he was killing us in practice, man, because he had a good game, you know.
I just want, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to get this one pointer because this is number one on my list. Okay. That I don't think you guys talked about yet. Kind of like not even under the racism that we had to play ball through. I just want to talk about that real quick. Okay, if you don't mind. Change subject, and we'll come back around. Now, I went to Sheepshead Bay. Now, there's a great jump shooter named Jeff Thomas, all city, went to University of Georgia, D1, who's at Sheepshead Bay too. We're both in the 9th grade. Now, you know, back at that time, you're getting running. If you're not out of school and on that bus, that 44 bus, on the way back out of there, you're getting chased home an hour after that. So we had to deal with that.
Notion Avenue bus, that's right.
So anyway, we tried for the JV. So we got Jeff Thomas, William Calhoun trying out for the JV of Sheepshead Bay. We both get cut. Now, I don't want to say it was racism. I'm going to say it was a misunderstanding of culture, AKA racism. And this is why I say that. At that time, at Sheepshead Bay, and we're talking about 74, the 74, 75 season. Jeff Thomas got so many black guys, it was an influx of black people coming in. So what they did academically was put us in sweat hall classes. Now, for people who are younger, meaning, okay, we're gonna have the general academics, and then we'll have a lesser academics until you prove you're valid, because they were the quote white school, Sheepshead Bay, and we were all black people coming in a sense, getting bused there, even though it was public busing. So we go there, I'm getting hundreds on every test, and I get my report card, and my mother say, why are you getting 85s when you got 100? And then they explain to my mother that I'm in a sweat hall category, in other words, a lesser academic thing, and unless you get 100, then we won't even put, for 1 year, we won't even put you in a regular academics. So already they're typecasting it and prejudging what we can and cannot do. So anyway, that's the academic part. So Jeff and I, and it was an influx. The Sheepshead Bay had an influx of blacks. Everybody thinks they're a ball player, they're black. And that's the one of the things that's interesting, that because you play basketball doesn't make you a basketball player. And most of the time, people think because they play basketball, they're basketball players. And it's to me, two different things. But anyway, the layup line tryout went from this side of the court all the way to the baseline of the other court, rebounding and shooting, and the other one almost went just as far. That's how many people tried out. I'd say about 60 people. Jeff Thomas gets cut on the layup line because there's so many people. So the D1 first team all city, Jeff Thomas gets cut on the layup line for Sheepshead Bay.
And plus he won the Iron Man award.
Exactly. D1, University of Georgia. So anyway, and their leading scorer probably of all time eventually.
Right.
But that's what happened. He gets cut for I make it through the layup line to the scrimmage. They go back and forth 5 times, and then they cut me. Now, in that 5 times that we went back and forth, I think I got 2 rebounds, a block, and a really good outlet. But they don't see that. This is what we had to deal with. So later that year, we finally in gym, in the class, in basketball. So in basketball, I drive on this guy in the gym class and dunk on a guy. So it just happened that our gym teacher was the varsity coach. He blows the whistle. And this is why probably I wasn't at Jeff. Thank God things work out. I wasn't at Sheepshead and stayed there and played with Jeff. He said, "What are you, stupid?" That was the first thing out of his mouth. Now, I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. He's passed away since that. But Coach Walker, that was the first thing. Now, he assumed that there's nobody in the 9th grade at 6'4" that could dunk would ever get cut, especially from Sheepshead Bay, and ain't no powerhouse. JV in the 9th grade, you want to nurture that. So he is, but I didn't like the, what are you, stupid? And it was like, I looked at him and why didn't you try out? And I said, I did, I got cut. And of course he said, for talent wise, how could you get cut when we probably got maybe one that guy that could dunk on the JV? How could you? And you did it on somebody. So he was like that whole, initially assuming the negative about a black young man, negativeness all the time. That's what's always assumed.
Yep.
So I had to literally point out the other 7 guys in the gym class who got cut, that I was there, that we filled out the tryout sheet, that mother signed it, and we all got cut. And he goes, oh, well, you come back and you'll be on varsity next year. But he didn't understand that it's not just about that, it's about the whole environment and the attitude in the building.
And how you perceived, and how you perceived
you automatically went to the negative.
Right. And how, and like, yeah, and as crazy as it sounds, we're paying attention, and we hear that, and it impacts how you respond, you know, and
even
you
if
want
I
to get
didn't
away from that
it
situation.
Still affects me in some way, right? Even if I didn't remember it, like why would you automatically jump to the negative? But then, like I said, we moved to East New York, and then that rest is history. My mother went to Jeff, so I went to Jeff, and you know, played ball there with Sid. Yeah, so it was meant to be too, I think.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Yeah, quite a number of snafus, or I call them snafus, that end up being like success stories afterwards, because you know you made the right decision to move away from a situation that wasn't right for you personally, and that's when the selfishness is required. That's one of the reasons why you got to think about yourself, man. It's like this place is not for me, you know, and that happens a lot, and a lot of times we don't get a chance. And then the person, you don't know who the person they never turn out to be who they could have been, you know. So because they stick it out and they get screwed, you know, and that kind of racism was happening in a lot of different places, kind of happening less, you know. These coaches sometimes are, and that back in that time frame, especially at like a place like New Utrecht or something, it's like, I know there's a bunch of good basketball players at New Utrecht, and there's only like 3 black guys on the team. And I know there were more black kids at that, because
Mark Graham, I forgot. Mark Graham went to 258. He was at New Utrecht for a while. Yeah,
you know, exactly, you know. So and it happened at Lafayette, you know, but the only thing is that Lafayette broke the mold because all the black guys were good. So they had to put them on the team.
You couldn't not play. Like, but should it be that way? That you gotta play him like, oh, let me see. We got this white guy, this white guy, and then we got LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. So they gotta play. We know they're gonna play, you know. So, you know, it shouldn't have to be that they gotta be so great. It just should be, you know, who it is.
But look at
I tell you though, man, the best part of that story, man, was that you remember that the guy called you, said, what are you, stupid? And you're like, no.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to know that your mind said, this guy calling me stupid, he doesn't even know me. You know what I mean? My mom didn't bring me up that way.
I dunk on somebody and you call me stupid.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That says a lot about you.
Yeah. And check him off that list. Check that coach right off the list, man. You know, and I got to get away from a guy like that, man. You know,
and that was, again, he might have been a good coach for some people. Just for me and how I roll, it wasn't a good. I think I perform more. I perform better with a positive influence, and that's what I was saying. Sam Hanger and Ruben and Rick, they kind of gave me, you know, Houn, you know. Whether it's before that, like I got a saying that when I coached, because I actually coached longer than I played. But I got a saying that I would tell you, I got cut more than Spice Ham in the ghetto. Now some people don't want You may
That's a
not
hell of a
know
lot.
what spice ham is,
Especially if
but spice
Les
ham
is
the
around. That's a
cheapest
hell of a
meat
lot
in
of
the
spice ham.
Yeah.
I don't even think they sell it anymore. It's so bad for you. But it's the cheapest, whatever the cheapest meat is, it's cheaper than bologna. It was even cheaper than bologna. It's called spice ham. And I got cut. Chico cut me twice. I got cut a lot. Not even counting when I shouldn't have got cut. I'm just saying I got cut when I should have got cut. And you add on the other, oh man, Chico cut me twice. I got cut maybe one time for Brooklyn, USA, I think. A couple of restoration things. I wasn't always not even always. I was until maybe 14. I just kept chipping away till maybe 14 or 15 when everything kind of came together was when things started to, because I probably grew an inch in like 5 years, 6 years, from like the 10th grade all the way through my college career or even that. So I'm pretty much like 6'4.5", 6'5". So I was always kind of that. So I had to catch up with it, my abilities and those things. And yeah, it's something to understand. And I do want to talk about the kid because I wrote a couple of things down about the kids today. I haven't coached in about 8 years now. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad.
What do you mean? The kids of today or the coaching?
Yeah, playing. The kids playing and coaching them and bringing them up through the system. I don't think it's that bad. I think because we can't have it both ways. We can't say we had the best coaches and things of that nature and then say the kids now are not doing their job. I think we had the best coaches any people. It wasn't commercialized. Right. So we had the Gills Reynolds, the Lester Roberts, the Sam Hangers. We had those people who would give time and money endlessly. And we don't do that. And when I mean by we, I don't mean you and me. I mean as a whole, as a group, as 10 people. Because there were 10 other coaches that did it. They just wasn't really good at it or as good. So I just think it's somewhat that it's a little bit. They're like somewhere around 25% of the fault because they don't want to soak it in.
Right.
And I've seen that.
Yeah. And I've been around it. I've been around it a lot, man. And I see a lot of different holes and problems. But the player is always going to be a sponge for information, no matter what. I mean, and then there's the body of work or their physicality, which I guess to some degree maybe they say like they jump higher, faster, or whatever. But the game, when the game adjusted and the things that they started allowing to happen, it took controls out of the coach's hand because now I'm not working on anything because everybody's dribbling. And that's what happened. I think one thing that made the game so much different now than it was is that there's a lot of dribbling going on. And so it kind of makes it hard to see what you're saying, Calhoun, that they're probably okay. But the dribbling thing, man, it takes away because everybody stands around and watches anyone dribble. People aren't moving around when people are dribbling around. People usually stand and watching them because it becomes like a show almost to my teammate. You know, so if Earl Fuller's got the ball and he's dribbling, like me and you, Calhoun, standing in the corner, I'm like, start up a conversation with you because it's like you know. But back in the day, guys weren't doing it. They would look first, make a move, dribble with a purpose. People don't dribble with a purpose anymore. Right. You know, and so that's what makes it kind of. But you're probably right that the kids they're going to be okay, but there is a lack of coaching being done without a doubt because you don't want everyone's afraid to overcoach because then they'll be out of there or a parent will come after you. So everyone wants to keep that play and then that player will leave and go to play for somebody else. So it's like everybody's on eggshells. Huh?
That always happened. That's how I got to play with Riverside when I got to a certain amount and they had the all-star. Now we went to what? We went to Arizona, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And to Spain, but I didn't go to Spain. My mom wouldn't let me go.
She wouldn't let you go. Oh, that's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, me and Phil. Phil's mom wouldn't let him go. I'm serious. She was adamant about that. It was like it was crazy, man. And we were in prep school at the time, me and Phil. So that's why my mom was on my case about that, man. And yeah, but that Arizona trip was nice, man. And we won the whole thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
So but it's really crazy that these players now they don't even want to hear it if you don't know what you're talking about, because the kid will leave, And I know Les works with kids on the side and young athletes, and he has their attention. But if he didn't know what he's talking about, he wouldn't have that platform.
Right.
Because the kid and the parents are making that decision. I don't think you need to go back to that guy because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yo, Houn, I lost a lot of kids because I was trying to show them how to post up. Oh, well, I want to work on my complete game. I said, well, a complete game, you got to know how to post up. I said, LeBron knows how to post up. He can also shoot a three. But
now you're saying, what level are you talking about? Because I agree with you to a degree. Because sometimes you're not coaching for the future, and I understand that part. Like not coaching for the future. In other words, let's say the kid now is 6'6". He ain't gonna be a college post-up player, most likely, unless his skills are phenomenally in the post. He's not gonna be a D1. But he may not have skills in D1 anyway.
I'm just saying, though, you still gotta know that mindset.
Yeah, you still got a general understanding of it,
right?
Not a mastery of it, but a general understanding of it. Oh, absolutely.
Right, and a lot of time I lose them because they don't even want to get to that point. They want to start with a 3-pointer.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm the wrong guy for you. Okay, right. So I may work them out, but I get them in good shape, man. And then later on they stop showing up. But I mean, I was just doing stuff on the side in the gym, so it was fine. I didn't take it personally. I just know the game has changed.
Right.
So I know what my skill set is. I know what I'm good at and what I can teach good. Right. So if they want to learn, they can come. Now I had little guys who wanted to learn more about posting up than my big guys. Right. Go figure.
And you know what's scary?
When they say mouse in the house, that type of thing. Sometimes the guard gets down on the low post, and the guy behind him is only 5'11". So he wants to know what to do. So he's like, Mr. Miller, you show me that drop step. Little things like that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what my strengths are. So
right.
But what sucks though is when you watch, let's say you watch the games on TV, and you see a guy who's making 7 figures, and he catches it down low, and the guy that's playing D on him is like 6'3", 6'4", and he's 6'11", 6'10", and he don't know how to make the basket. He throws it back out to the three.
All the time in college. I just cringe. The guy's like 6'10", 6'11". He's 8 feet from the basket, and he don't want to shoot it. He passing it out to the three.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't care. I mean, if he was my son, put it that way. That's a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
Here's my son. I'd almost go in the court or win the lockout timeout or after the game and punch him in the chest. Why are you passing the ball out? If you don't shoot then when? When are you going to shoot?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't just shoot threes all the time, no matter whether it's you or a teammate. Because if it's just threes, then they'll find a way. A good coach will find a way to shut that down. Right. If you're just shooting threes. So but to balance it, you have to shoot.
But look at last night. I just give you an example of last night. You know how many threes Minnesota shot last night in the game? 39% from the field. They took 41 3-pointers, man.
Wow.
That's like Tom Brady throwing nothing but bombs. Every time he throws a pass, it's got to be a long bomb, What about like a 10-yard pass or a screen? No, everything's long, everything. And it's like, but it was 39%, and they substantiate that. That's a good percentage to be shooting. Like if you shoot better than that, we'll most likely win the game. And it's like, but meanwhile, if I'm under the basket and I make a move and I pump fake and get the guy in the air, I'm throwing the ball back out. I don't understand it. And it's like, if there's 4 seconds left and we're down by 3, then I can understand taking a 3 and that being your focus. If you're getting ready to take a layup, no, we need a 3. But not that situation is not for the whole 48 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
But I also think if you got a good point guard, right, he wants to keep the big man engaged. You know, otherwise, why am I going to get all these rebounds to pass it out to you? You know what I mean? It's like you gotta see your list. You got some really soft hands, man. You catch all the bullshit passes I give you, man. Here we gotta reward you. You know, you just got like 4 or 5 rebounds in a row, man. You running the court. You gotta reward the big man. You know.
Yeah, but unless you
then,
got another problem.
Saying, a lot of times the big man is going out the 3-point line too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got another problem. The big man ain't getting rebounds because he's shooting threes, you know, so he ain't getting no rebounds. And then after you take the shot, nobody follows their shot. You know, nobody follows your teammate's shot. So I trust you, Houn. I think you're a great outside shooter. But if you're shooting from the outside, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna try and get the rebound just in case you miss, because it might be a basket for me. I might dunk. I might get a tap dunk. You know, why not? Right. I might get a layup. I mean, and plus the guy might get a foul for me fighting for the rebound. If I'm in position, you might foul me on the rebound. There's so many strategic things of why you should, you know, why participating in the other parts of the game while someone is shooting the ball is important, because you get those. That's how you get stats. That's where stats come from. You get a rebound, you get a steal, you know, because you're engulfed in the game. But if you're standing around like, Houn, you shooting a jumper and I'm running back already, that's like saying, oh, that's Houn, that's good. And I turn around and it's a miss. And then they're running back down the court and I get dunked on because nobody gets back on D. Then that's the last, you know, we're going to have a conversation as a teammate, you know? So,
but you know what? Somebody said when Russell Westbrook was getting all those triple doubles, right? They were saying the reason why that was happening more because of the fact the game was changing, where the big guys went underneath the basket. So it gave him an outlet to go and get all those
advantage
rebounds.
of it.
Yeah. So you have more guards getting 10, 11 rebounds, you know, as opposed to before. If they got 4 rebounds, that was a good game.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And how do you make sense of it, though? Because there's so many particulars.
Well, they got to change. That's what they say. Change is the only thing that serves. So.
Yeah.
Things are going to change, and it might change back. It might grow. The game might even change the rules. Who knows?
Right.
You know what happens with that.
But
I want to talk about the elephant in the window. LIU. And y'all beating us.
With Mr. Bona and Duke Tongo.
Let me just say this. Y'all lucky. And I don't mean beating us. Now, do you remember what happened before that? Kurt Redden was supposed to come to Florida.
Kurt Redden was supposed to go to Florida?
Yeah. And at the last second, St. John sneaks in and stabs us in the back.
I did not know that. This is weird. I'm telling you, this is really weird. I was talking about Kurt this morning, man. I was talking to Ron Beckham about Kurt, man.
Man, and that would have been a whole nother problem if you don't know.
Oh, that would have been a problem for me. That would have been a problem for me, because that's the one guy I always say, man. I say it all the time, man. Kurt's a problem for me, man. I'm serious, man.
But for us, you know, the type of team that Fordham was, the reason why y'all won and y'all were good was because of talent. But everybody had talent. The other ingredient that was so important, that Brooklyn soul, spice, heart, dogness, whatever you want to put name on it, label on it, y'all had like too many guys like it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas it was relatively me, we had a kid from the Bronx, Mike Cooper, and we had David Maxwell. That kind of, but he wasn't, not to put everybody in the catalog, we needed a couple of like real, especially up front. Let me say that.
You're right. No, you're right.
But he wasn't up front though. Mm-hmm. Because one of the reasons why I went to Fordham was, one, the academics, but the schedule was nobody could touch the Fordham schedule.
Yeah, because y'all played in the Garden a lot, didn't y'all?
We played 2 times every year.
We didn't.
2 times every year. But my freshman year, we played at Georgetown, at UCLA, at Notre Dame, and in Hawaii against University of Tennessee.
Wow.
I mean, and we went to the Rainbow Classic for a week. I mean, it was ridiculous. We were playing we played like one of the best college teams of all time. I had the privilege of playing against. One, I think, had 6 pros or 5 pros. One of the my freshman year, they had Bill Lambier, Kelly Trapuco, Woolridge, Pax. I don't know if Paxson played on that team.
Notre Dame.
Sophomore year at the Garden, when we almost beat them, they had like 5 or 6 posts. Tracy Jackson. They had like, it was always that. And then we played St. John's every year. One year we played them twice. So we always playing Bill Whittington. We played when they had Chris Mullins. We played when they had Wayne McCoy and Reggie Carter. You know, it was like they had the better schedule. You know, we only win like, I think my junior year, we started winning like 17, 18 games. But before that, we were like 12 and 14 or whatever.
Like in the middle, like in the middle row.
Every team that we played had 2 or 3 pros on.
Right.
Like that's how they were rolling.
Yeah.
We played all those great Temple teams. We went out and played all the great Temple teams. Seton Hall, like I said, Georgetown my freshman year. We always played great teams that had minimum of 2 pros.
And that was Tom Penders, right?
Yeah, with Penders, Tom Penders.
Yeah, man. He was embarking into, you know, it's funny we're talking about this during that era. You had him, Mike Krzyzewski, Calhoun from UConn, PJ Calissimo, all were in schools in the tri-state area.
Right.
You know, because Krzyzewski was an Army coach, you know, and you know who everybody else was. And all of them had grander, you know, thoughts of their futures, you know. But you guys had probably you could have had probably the beginning of that African connection of African athletes playing, you know, Division I basketball. Quite honestly, Duke Tongo to me wasn't that good of a player, but Ed Boner was good, man.
Ed Boner had that rubber band hop. What he needed, the only thing he needs
some soul.
Play Brooklyn basketball.
Yeah, he needs some soul, man. He needed a roti
he needed
or something.
Soul in the old citywide.
Yeah.
Free Void.
I got a better one for you, Houn. Hold on, I got a better. Less. He needed some Cavassier or something. Maybe some OE. Give him some OE. He was straight.
OE, right? Yeah. I got 25 cents. How much you got? I got 25 cents. That's all I had was 25 cents.
Yeah, Les, I'm telling you, man.
Put in with you was share the court.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Les. He was long. He was long like Michael Cooper. He was long like Michael Cooper. And
jumping out the gym.
And jumping out the gym. And on his jump. Yeah, and then on his jump shot, he was jumping high on his jump shot. So you're not blocking his jump shot. But he had timidness, man. It was like he wouldn't finish with a purpose. He finished like, oh, this is easy. Let's leave it as a feather shot. No, go there and rip the rim off, you know, like Kevin Young type stuff. You know what I'm saying, Les?
Yeah.
You know, like Graham from Georgetown. He could have been like, and so we took advantage of him. He was like the weakest link because your guards
he was younger too. He was like that year. He was like a junior, I think. That was the senior. That was 78 when y'all went to the NCAA.
78. That was 80, 81.
80, 81. Oh, it was 80, 81. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. 80, 81. Right. 80, 81. So he was a freshman then. That's why.
Yeah.
He was afraid. He needed more, you know, seasoning into that aggressiveness, especially, you know, one of the reasons why they didn't think I could really play at that next level, because at 6'5", everybody is either big, like I'm playing against, like for example, the Iona team. When I was a freshman, was it a sophomore too? Maybe even a sophomore too. They had Mike Ice and Jeff.
When you were a sophomore. That's right. Yo, they had
you say.
And who was the coach? Who was the coach then? It was Valvano was still a coach.
I think Valvano was still a coach.
Yeah, he was still a coach. Les. Like everybody on that team was 6'4" bigger.
No. Let me tell you so I'm playing the front line, and this is what they're trying to say. when they say I can't play at that level. And I can't take it personal. Jeff Rulin, Mike Ice 6'11", and they had another guy 6'10".
Kevin VC. Kevin, I know every single one of them. I know every single. I work with them.
I gotta check one of them.
Yeah.
At 6'5".
Right.
So
this is who it was, Calhoun.
No help. So
right.
If you're on the other side, Les, I can't give you help. I gotta worry about mine.
Right. Yo, Les, this is the deal. Calhoun, hold on a second, Calhoun.
So I can't give no help.
Right.
And then because they light a frame, they can't give me help really. Yeah. So like I'm on an island. So we're gonna lose that battle. So now the front, all I can hope for is to neutralize that. That's the best outcome. And we're getting the same thing when we played everybody. Now if I had Kurt or Raleigh, then we could talk.
Right.
But
I tell you, Iona, Iona. Iona had it was Mike Ice, Kevin VC. These were all 7-footers. Jeff Rulin. They had Ed Gooding, who was like 6'9". You know, I mean, and they were like throwing like these 6'11" dudes at you. I mean, like a bag of Skittles.
It was ridiculous. And if you're running up and down, like it probably wouldn't matter as much now because of the 3 points. But back then, when they didn't have 3 points, it was nothing you could combat that with. Other, you could take them out a little further and maybe dance on them. That was it.
Right.
That was it. That's all you could do.
Pull them away from the basket, you know.
That's when they found out I could play. When we played the big good teams like UCLA, like the ones that had like their small forward was 6'8", like UCLA, Tennessee, you know, Iona, you know, the big teams. Then I could go out and dance on them a little. Because then my New York skills could help a little bit. But if I'm just straight up posting, because I got to beat one 6'10" guy or 6'8" guy, and then the help is 6'10". See, that's the difference from high school. Yeah. That's what helped me in high school playing against Sid. But that's just beating Sid.
Right.
But when the help is 6, see, that's why you don't. It's very hard for somebody, no matter how skillful they are, because I got to beat my man and then help. And then you're a pro when you can be help.
Right.
Then you can, it don't matter who's coming. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter.
Yeah, and I know, you're right. Because I had to deal with the same, because I mean, it's funny, at LIU, I started as the 2 guard with me and Rob Cole, because Rudy and them were all redshirting. But when they all came back, I got demoted to a small forward, man. So I mean, it's crazy. And when we played Iona, man, I'm playing against freaking, Gary Springer's playing small forward. We go and play against Idaho, the guy's 6'9", but to pull him away from the basket, serious. That was the only recourse, because I had guard skills, but and so it made it hard, man, but it made me a better player as well, You
had to suffer through that. And did y'all ever you at LI, did y'all play Rutgers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did y'all play Rutgers when James Bailey was there?
No, he had left. It was the year I came the year after, which is your freshman year.
Right.
But it was Roy Henson.
Right. Later they had Roy Henson. We played against them, I think, 3 out of 4 years. We always played played Rutgers. But the freshman year, I'm on the back line. Now, I don't know if you remember, I'm gonna give a little bit of info on it. Remember, we were seniors and they were counting his dunks. In the Daily News, he had 100 and some dunks. Remember, they were counting them? So now I'm a freshman in 6'5" against 6'10", jumping out of the roof, James Bailey. And I was on some poster or cover or something, because I'm like in the back going like this, 6'5", and they throw it up. It's like ridiculous. But at least I could say the guys that I got that dunked on me all were pros.
Right. Yeah.
Wasn't no
and it made it hard, man. But it was hard, man. I'm telling you, it was really hard. But
I mean, they know this. If you're playing, you're gonna get dunked on. Now, if you're not playing, you can avoid getting dunked on. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're 6'5". Not that that's an excuse, because you need to play that area and position game. But some things you just, like a couple of them dunks, there's nothing I could do about it because I couldn't get that high off the ground, and they throwing alley-oops to Orlando Woolridge. You know what I'm saying? I ain't getting up that high, so there's nothing I could do. I can't take this spot away and that spot away. So hopefully he don't make too many alley-oop dunks.
And that was the case with like Rutgers because they had Roy Henson and Melvin Turpin was there because they had a good team, man, and Rich Brunson in there, man. So, but every night, man, it's the same thing every night.
Yeah.
Roy Henson one time blocked my shot, and I was good at going at guys, and I won at him, and I put it up, and it was a goaltend, but like he literally like looked in the rim and then scooped it out and threw it. I mean, he was jumping out of the gym. He was like 6'10", and he was jumping out the gym.
Yeah, he was.
He was jumping out the gym.
Yeah, and it's funny, he went to the right place too. With he ended up playing with Philly, man. He was with the Doc.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, that was like crazy stuff. But you're right, man. I mean, it's like really hard to, transition into playing against guys that big at that small forward spot, man. It's tough, man. It really is. But it's tough for them. But it's tough for them too. Understand that because if you pull them away from the basket, they got to play you, And but that's like Les said, man. If you got a good guard, he's gonna help you expose that player for you to get the best out of you that he possibly can. And speaking of best guards, how did you and Keith Williams end up being real cool?
Well, we were in the same class together at Jet, and we were just friends. We became friends. I was friends with people who played on the team and then other people too. And it just happened that when Keith got there, we got there in the 10th grade together in that same college discovery program that Jeff had. And so he played with another team. He didn't play like JV there.
Right.
And then in the 11th grade, he didn't make it those 2 years. And it wound up being a blessing that he didn't make it, but we were always friends and hanging out during school, lunchtime, and things of that nature. So he was just pretty much a friend.
That's Les's dude, man.
Yeah, he knows he wasn't on our level, but the great thing about that I always say about Keith Williams, that's the lovely thing about basketball. A coach or anybody can say how good you are. They can't say how good you can be. And so he just kept like this. Some people got better a little bit. Some people stayed the same. Some people downgraded, but he just kept climbing that staircase of getting better and better and improving his skills. And that's what it's about, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
When you're young, that's what it's about.
Look like we lost Les, man, on there, man. They just jumped back in.
I'm back.
Yeah. But that's Les's boy, man, because Keith.
Who that?
Keith Williams.
Oh yeah.
That's my boy. Yeah, we played together a lot in a few tournaments afterwards, and we always had fun playing together.
Yeah, he when we interviewed him, Les went all in on him because Les knows, man, it's like this guy's gonna hit the jumper, and that's so important, man, to have a guard that you feel comfortable with, man. And
right.
I mean, it's like that, especially at that level of playing in the college level. That makes or breaks you as a player who doesn't have the ball in your hands all the time. Is that guy to get, whatever the coach scheme is, but and Keith is that kind of guy because he's going to make them play him honest as well. So not that many guys have that capabilities of doing that, man. And what were the guards that you like how did you like playing with the Fordham guards?
The Fordham guards, it was
Mr. Maxwell.
I would say this. I love playing with Maxwell, and I had my roommate was Tony Faust. I was used to a more like when I say Bub, you know who I'm talking about, right? Anthony Washington Bub.
Yeah.
Right. So Bub.
Chili Bub.
Right, Chili Bub. He went to 258 too. He was more of like in that vein of don't let it fool you. Sam Worthing could pass the ball fancy, but he could get it to the right spot. So in the Russell Sanders, even though Russell could score a lot, that pure guard of moving the ball more of a tad more old school than scoring, just a tad more of we're going to get these guys the ball and distribute. I was used to that more. And getting the ball in my sweet spot rather than, and it's harder when you're smaller too, but that type of thing. Maxwell was a great two guard. He really wasn't a point. And then sometimes Penders will play him at point. And he really wasn't that point guard. So that's where, as a team, we suffered. Just like as a big, powerful, like I played all 5 positions, believe it or not, at Fordham. I started at guard like 3 times, shooting guard, small forward, and then our last like 3 games, dude got hurt, and I had to play center. It was easier for me to go to center playing a big guy than than Ed Boner going to center, let him stay at power forward, and then I went to center. So I was like jumping center against like Fairfield and who did we play in the NIT? Virginia Tech. At Virginia Tech. Yeah. So all of those type of things. You know what I'm saying? So we were probably like that. Like if we had Rudy, I know I can pick who I want. A Rudy or a Larry Washington and Kurt, I would have said goodbye to you. I'd have said goodbye to St. John's. I'd have said goodbye to everybody. Just those 2 guys plugged in the right way, because now we got the sweet point guard. And then we got the power forward taking that off of my shoulders.
Right.
I had to change my game a few times. Like I was never like a Raleigh type player or Eric Booth. I was more like, I was strong enough, but you know what I'm saying? It's like that wasn't my game to be like a brute. Right. Then I had to start being that because we really didn't have we didn't have a Raleigh or somebody could help me burden it. Right. In the front line.
Right. And it's funny thing, and it's funny thing you said about the guards. So you would have you could have had to pick a litter of a lot of guys because Kurt ended up not really being, I guess, not that happy at St. John's. Larry Washington wasn't that happy. Ray James wasn't that happy. Because guys went there and they disappeared. They really disappeared. And I was having a conversation with somebody this morning. That it's a sad state that ended up being kind of like a black hole. And
for Larry, and Larry could play. And the key about Larry is he was probably 10 years ahead. Like nobody could catch up with his slickness at that time. Like that was the thing. Like if he'd have came before them, man, they were playing that game. I don't know what kind of game because I don't understand it. Now, let's be honest. Your school, Midwood, Brooklyn Tech, right?
Yep.
Okay. And Jeff, pick one of these schools that's unlike the others. Let's be honest. Okay. Jeff wasn't an academic haven for scholars. Okay. For real. But yet they chose they chose me. And I had a good point. I had a B something grade point average and all that. And maybe they just said I could be it. Maybe I had rabbis in my corner, whatever it might have been. But they felt I could do the work, and it was hard. Going from Jeff to Fordham academically was like, I didn't even know, like playing against Bill Lambier as a freshman and James Bailey and playing in Hawaii against UCLA at UCLA. That's nothing compared to academic challenges that I had. Like that, I wasn't even worried about that. The academic challenge is ridiculous. Like we read the news and the Post and probably just the sports section. Then I went from that to reading 2 to 3 textbooks per class, per semester.
Per semester.
The New York Times. And the New York Times. I was like, what the fuck is New York Times? Oh, that thick newspaper that looked like a Bible. You got to read that every day. Stuff like that. The demands were crazy. How I got through is like the grace of God, my mother, a whole lot of tutors and stuff like that. But it was like they asked too much. That's the bottom line to me. They asked too much because they didn't have, like Fordham, I don't know about now, but when I went, they didn't have any what they call Mickey Mouse courses. Like, I remember I was like, okay, I'm looking at I want art history. Now, I thought art history was going on trips to the museum. I didn't know we were writing 40-page term papers on the Blue Boy and what is this at the Google. Yep. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they asked to me too much. Like the level that they were asking was too much, and for you to put extra time in getting better practicing, traveling, and playing against the top-notch guy, and for us to even have a chance in winning. Because they, like I said, we were playing everybody.
Yeah.
We almost played everybody in the Big East. That was the Big East.
Mhm.
And we actually, let me say this because it may not get out. I was hanging with Keith and Billy Owens. Let me tell you, we beat Syracuse at the Meadowlands. Fordham beat Syracuse at the Meadowlands. I think it was 81. When they had Leo Routens, Tony Red, Andre, they had like 3 or 4 McDonald's All-Americans.
Andre was on that team. Yeah.
Andre
Gene
Hawkins.
Waldron.
Mhm.
Gene, right? Gene was, I'm sorry, Gene. Look how
Gene
was,
Gene
man.
is the wig man now.
Gene Red. Yeah, man. That we beat them. So we
Yeah.
had a couple of little notches that were good. We lost to you guys. Yeah, that was a great team. Initially I was mad, of course, because I knew you guys and y'all gonna rub it in. And you always gonna feel your team should win. Of course, you're not gonna feel your team lose. But it was always tough battles because we were in the same division. We knew each other. And then we also extra knew each other because of the whole Brooklyn thing.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all were really the Brooklyn Blackbirds. And it was, as an older person and knowing the game, saying, yeah, that was some team.
And that's funny, man,
props.
because there was a lot of people like, and I was talking to guy Ron Beckham this morning, and we're talking about the schools in Brooklyn, Brooklyn College, LIU, St. Francis. But I totally forgot to extend the conversation like St. John's, Seton Hall, Fordham, CCNY. Remember, Manhattan used to be like a real good Division I team.
Manhattan was
the Jasper.
That was our rival.
Right, that's right. Right, Fordham and Manhattan, yeah. Because y'all would play like in the holiday festival, like every year at the Garden,
We played at the Garden against Manhattan. That was a big game. And it would be Fordham on one side, Manhattan. And then I'm looking up and I see a guy with an F running around the top. Remember when the top connected all the way around at the Garden?
Mhm,
And then there would be a guy with an M with a flag running around. Then I found out like there were 35 fights and that, because my boy was up and he said, yeah, did you see when the guy punched the guy with the M flag? I mean, they were doing brutal stuff. Like one year, Manhattan broke into Fordham, stole the Ram, spray painted it green and hung it.
Unless they were bugging less, some fans were bugging less.
Oh, it was crazy. They would paint like, I think it was I can't remember the young twins. Remember them young twins that played? They went to Manhattan. I can't remember their names, but anyway, they were there like my senior year. Anyway, we played them my senior year at Manhattan. They literally have like 200 guys painted green with green rigs. Like it was that type of atmosphere going crazy. Yeah. I mean, it was like fights, drunken fights. And don't forget, when we were there, you could drink at 18. So you know how the games work. You know what I'm saying? It was in the fans.
And that's the unwritten conversation about this whole experience is what was going on in the stands. Because college fans are nuts, man. They're nuts. I don't care what level it is. They are nuts. They love their school, and some guys like take it beyond the norm, like stealing mascots and crazy ass stuff.
Yeah, it was great. When I heard that, I mean, I was like, wow, they're going a little too far with it. I mean, I play hard, maybe an extra elbow here or there, but that's taking it really, really far.
Not as far as they're concerned. That level, but you see the level of loyalty to the sport that we play. I mean, the level of loyalty is off the chains, and the rich traditions that we all deal with, and the traditions that we all that we wrote because we participated, right? So you have to take your hat off to all of the experiences that we had. It flourished to make what is now going on what it is, because we connected like the old and the new, I guess, for the most part, and it's not easy, but you do it, and before you know it, you turn around and there's a history behind the whole scenario that we all have memories of, you know, and it makes it fun. And I don't know, I mean, it makes it tough for some people as well, because some people don't have those experiences,
Oh, absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
and
Did y'all ever play Columbia?
Yeah, we played with Richie and them. Yeah, we played them every year.
Okay.
We played Columbia
Yeah,
every year.
okay.
Who else we play? We would play Princeton, Columbia. I think once in a while, I think maybe 3 times we played Harvard. Like we played that type of institution. We played our division, which was like Army, LIU, Fairfield, and
Wagner.
Wagner. We didn't play. Well, we played Wagner a little bit.
Yeah, they were in the conference though.
Oh yeah, they were. Oh okay.
Right.
Oh yeah, right. Wagner when they had Bones Tompkins and
Right.
Yeah.
Bones was
Sienna.
there, yeah.
Right. Sienna, because they had Rod Mullen, Chris Mullen's brother. May he rest in peace. He was in. He played for Sienna.
I think we were out. I don't remember. Maybe we did. I can't. My memory is so kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah. Now Sienna was in there. I'll help you out there. You know, but it's like, but then you go into the crazy world of, you know, traveling and playing places like me and Ron Becker was talking about playing Detroit, man, and playing against
Earl Cureton was on the team then?
Who?
Earl Cureton. University of Detroit, you mean?
Now Earl came like the year afterwards. Was Terry Tyler was there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, Terry Tyler was, and John Long.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Terry
John
Tyler
Long,
was like a big version of I mean, we're going to talk about this guy right now. Terry Tyler was a big Eric Marbury.
Ooh, he could jump like that.
You see that response he gave last?
You gotta prove. I gotta see some rule highlights or something, man.
Yo, but you know Terry Tyler, man. Yo, he was like a power
Terry
dunker.
Tyler, but I don't know about Eric Marbury jumping.
Man,
I've seen that.
Yo, we were right there, man. You remember that, right?
My man Doc said they were playing at the Brevoort one time, and he jumped and dunked. Doc said, my man David Rett, he said he grabbed Eric Marbury and caught him because he felt that he was going to like kill himself. He was jumping like so high out of the gym. Man, it was like guys could jump. Like I was never a jumper. I could dunk, stuff like that. That's just regular stuff. Then there was a guy maybe with a notch higher. Then there was guys that had that extra notch, like Gene Liggins, Tony Brad, them guys that could jump, tomahawking on 6'8" guys, no problem. But then like Eric, he maybe because he was small and he left so far out, it just seemed like. So that Terry, I don't know, man. If you said it, I'll go along with you.
Just bring up, like, just go to YouTube and print Terry Tyler, man, and you'll see same muscular built. And there's a couple of guys that were like that. I don't know if you remember, and he's our same around our age. Sam Clancy, that played for Pittsburgh. Yo, he was like Vinnie Johnson, but set 6'7", and he could touch his knees without bending over.
Yeah, he had some long ass arms.
Yo, and he ended up playing major league. He ended up playing like linebacker in National Football League for like 15 years because he was such a specimen. They wanted Raleigh like that, you know. But I'm just saying, these guys, man, they're so powerful. I played in it was New York and New Jersey All-Stars against the McDonald's All-American team in Buffalo, New York. It was me, Dan Shays, guy named Randy Reed from August Martin that played with Underwood and them, right? And a couple other guys from New York. And we beat them, man, but the dunking contest, man, I'm doing my dunks, blah, blah, blah. And the same thing happened in that Russia game. I'm like, man, I can't compete with Eric Marbury. Sam Clancy, he destroyed, I mean, the dunks that this guy was doing, it was almost not humanly possible to jump off the wrong leg and do a triple sow cow and dunk the ball. It's just, that humans don't do that, you know? And that's the same with Eric Marbury. It's like, Houn attests, because he talked about it all the time. That layup line, man, when we played the Russians.
In that Russia game?
It was watching him, man. I was watching him.
It was scary, man.
Yeah.
We were, I remember, because he played with the Ravens for like a year. He came over to us because, you know, he was kind of isolated in Coney Island. There was no team really there, a big team at that time. So he kind of came over with us and we had to kind of like that main team in our division. So he came and played with us. And he came late from Coney Island one day. I mean, we were all stretched, warmed up. We might have been had in a layup line for about 5 minutes already. So we already dunking from the dotted line. Now that was the level of, for at least for me, or what I saw was the level of you could truly dunk, that you can lead from the dotted line and dunk with no problem. Either tomahawk, cuff it, or whatever the case may be. He comes in late, runs on the court, takes his bag off, puts his sneakers on. And his first dunk is beyond where we were dunking up. He don't stretch. We were like, oh, let's start scrimmaging.
Yeah, it's scary. It really was scary,
ridiculous.
man.
It was ridiculous. And he could score too. It wasn't like he was all physical attributes. It's just that it was tough.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about earlier with the surrounded by greatness, Jeff Thomas, like that division, especially the junior year. The junior year we had, it was two pros, Sid and Ro Blackman.
Roll, that's right, roll.
But Rolando was a senior though.
He was a senior.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that was my junior year. He was a senior. Then we had Jeff. We had Richie in the high with Eric Buford on Lamb. It was tough, and it was tough for him to get out because of all of those schools. And then Jeff was at Sheep's Head, so it was hard. They always played like on 4th and 5th place teams because, it was the high, us, Brady. Then you still had Sheep's Head. Now Madison had players, but they wasn't really ranked.
Right.
Same thing with the U-Trick and stuff like that. And the same thing, but he was problem, man. Eric Marbury, now I know, and I told Steph this, you're a bad motherfucker though. But his shit, because everybody knew he was the only guy that had kind of, he was the only guy that's going to beat you. So he got to drop 40 for y'all to even be still in the game.
Right.
You got to drop 40. And 40 back then is like 50 now, 55, really now.
And he didn't have to have nobody else because the amount of points he's scoring just need a couple of guys just to cover the rest, and you're being competitive, But then on the defensive side, it's kind of like just let Spoon get his and shut everybody else down. Because that's what they did to Albert King. Yeah. Let Albert get his 40, and nobody else is going to score.
Right.
Did
you go on that team? I know Lab he told me about it. The trip to Nationals, where that's your senior year. Did you go on that team with Riverside or no?
Yeah.
That was a team, and y'all met up with Magic Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Lad told me that story. And I was like, y'all won, right? And he was like, nah. He said, who won? I think Magic and them won or whatever. He said,
we lost to
the Michigan team.
Oh, you're not, no, man. You know who we lost to, man? It's crazy, man, because they became famous down in North Carolina. Wittenberg and Derek Rowe. And the other guy, Vincent White, who was huge, man. He was big, a big guy like you, but he was huge. He was like 6'7". Like, I don't know if you guys remember Dennis Jenkins. He used to play for John Jay. I think he passed away. He was big like Don Les. But he was offensive 100%. He was like 2 years older than me. And that's the kind of guy Vincent was, man. It's like, power, scoring points, man. And we lost to them, man. And that was a crazy scene, man.
But Matt, getting back to what I was saying about what Larry was trying to tell me about, he said, there's this guy. I said, well, he outplayed Al. I said, get that out of here. Who's going to outplay Al? He said, no, he outplayed Al. His name was Irvin Johnson. I was like, what? I said, well, what did he play? He played center? He said, yeah, he did that. I said, but he played other positions. He played center, forward, guard. I said,
everywhere.
He's going to play all the positions.
Everywhere.
And lo and behold.
Yeah. Back then, though, you would, that was unheard of. Other than the closest person to that was Sam, right?
Right.
Do a couple of things. He did a couple of things, but Sam wasn't like totally with his back to the basket, taking you down there, blah, blah, blah. But Magic was like all over the freaking place, man. Handle the ball, give it up, go and post you up, throw a pass behind his neck, from the post-up position. It's like, and then come back and he's playing guard, playing D on guards. And, it's ridiculous, man, to see that. But a lot of people, I think after that year, Calhoun, what happened is because Albert King was listed as #1 in the country.
Right.
But after that,
over him, yeah.
right. But after that time frame, that it started swaying, but by the time everything was over, and they came with the evaluation, I guess Albert still got it. But like the Dapper Dan and all of those tournaments, he was getting MVPs. Like everything that they went to, once they picked the All-American team, he was winning the MVPs, because you forgot about one other guy though that was during that same time frame was Eugene Banks.
Right.
So that was a crazy year. And you know who else? James Worthy. Because they're all 77 grads, man.
Wow.
The people that graduated in 1977 high school and 1976, our year less, and Calhoun, your year. Those were
my year was 78.
Right. I'm sorry, 78. Excuse me.
Right.
Yeah, 77.
That was what Vern Fleming too, right?
Yeah,
Vern.
but that's what I'm saying. 77 and 78. There was so many good basketball players on the planet, well, in North America. There was so many, man. It's crazy. It's scary. It really is. Everybody was good, man.
Right.
Everybody, and you can't, and you can't, and it can't be disputed. Now it's like if either you're good or everybody else. But back then, everybody was everybody else. And especially in New York, I mean, we talk about this all the time. Everybody was interchangeable. Everybody was interchangeable. You mean to tell me that you couldn't have replaced another guy in UCLA or another guy at Notre Dame or Michigan, and they come and play where you played at? Because the skill level was very, very close. Other than you get those phenom guys, But now I don't even evaluate players anymore, so I can't even tell, man. So.
That guy's name that went to Seton Hall. He was like 6'9", and he played guard back in those days.
I know you talking
His name
about.
was John something. He's in jail now.
What was his name?
I thought his name was John something.
You talking the big power forward?
Me, him, and Kenny Webb.
You break it up.
He played guard.
Breaking up, Les. You breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
It might be the whole thing.
I don't know who that
Can you
guy
hear me
is.
now?
Playing for Seton Hall.
It was Seton Hall. He was a 6'9" guard.
And you
I'm
said his
about to look
first
it
name
up,
was
man.
John?
I think his name was John something, man. Me, him, and Kenny Whip, we played on this team, the Scranton Miners, man. And I'm telling you, man, dude was 6'9" legit, man, playing guard. And this was back in the same time Magic Johnson type days, But he went to Seton Hall.
Ooh, I'm trying to think who that was. It wasn't
And he murdered somebody. He's in jail.
What?
He's from
Jersey.
He's a Jersey guy.
I should remember that guy.
He's a Jersey guy, man.
Oh damn! He had to throw that in there, huh, Houn?
That's not.
By the way, he killed somebody, man.
I have a question for Les and you also. And you know how people say basketball saved my life or it changed my life or affected my life immensely and everything like that. What's your story on that whole thing? I just want to know. You might have said it before, but I haven't heard it. I would just like to know personally.
He kept me out of a lot of trouble. Gave me me a free education. I saw the world because of it. I met a lot of good people. And I don't know what my life would have been without basketball. To be honest with you, I think the mentality that you get, especially growing up in Brooklyn, of that kind of basketball, man, is something that you can't put a price tag on.
Absolutely.
And having my father, the fact that he was a player, you know, that helped to get me into the game, man. But like I said, it was the relationships. I wouldn't give that up for the world, man. You know.
Yeah, that's a real hard question to answer in the sense that it's kind of long. You know, the road is long for all of us. So um, without this game, man, I mean, I can't imagine of thinking of myself being anything else other because of everything that is done for me that make me who I am, which I know who I am. So a lot of people don't know who they are, but for me, I kind of do.
Exactly.
And I it's really hard, Hoon, to kind of answer that, unless we have another hour. But
How much time we got? How much time we got?
yeah, we got about 10 minutes.
10
But
minutes. We'll
yeah,
take
but
it, man.
yeah, but for me, you know, I mean, it meant so much to because it made me who I am. That I cherish it at a level that's that is way beyond even thought because I like who I am and I like what I've experienced because like Les said, the relationships, man, that's what made it all worth it. Not getting a check and playing in the NBA or overseas or whatever, because I didn't do either one of those things.
Right.
But for me, the biggest thing is the relationships that I built with people. They mean so much to me that it's scary. I'm serious. It's almost me something made me being wrong with me thinking about it. I really cherish the relationships that I gained from playing this game, and that's what made me who I am. And we all share in that success story.
Right.
You know, your successes, Calhoun, I honor them, you know, by, you know, feeling great about you having those successes and guys that made it to the league. It's like they made it as a representation of what we all went through.
Right.
So for me, I will always honor the ones who excelled and just the ones that participate because we built relationships, man. So,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, it's like Les said, I don't know what it'd be like without playing ball, man. You know, it's the key to life. You know, and it's funny. Jeff Houston was like, you know, it made him who he was today. You know, it got him. You know, it was the key to life for him. You know, and it was a lifeline for us all because of the racism, the sign of the times that we were growing up, not having much. You know, but then you look around and look at the one thing that we had, and we mentioned it earlier. Family, our parents, they were keen on what was expected of us to become good, you know, men. And contrary to what society says about the minority family, our families do the right thing. I don't care what anybody says; they're gonna kiss my
And
ass.
excuse me, I'm sorry. You two guys had your fathers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You had your father, and you had your father, Les too? Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Big
y'all were
Daddy,
double,
man.
y'all had the double blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and our dads were homeboys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I do a lot of talking. My friends and I, and we're all like 50, 60, and we talk about that whole thing. We have arguments about sometimey father. He was too strict. He was that. And I would always go back and forth. And I have another friend who's very successful financially, as a career, and as a human being. He's just top shelf. And we were talking one time, and he said, "But Houn, we never had a father." And when he said that to me, like I know I've never had a father, but he actually said it in a way that I could kind of comprehend it in my mind in that time as an adult. We never had a father, never. Not came to 3 games and then didn't show up. Was there till he was 8 and then wanted to get some milk and never came back. Never. And when he said that, I got caught off guard with how a great job that my mother did and my sister and my older brother did.
Yeah,
Help us out. And my uncle too, my uncle
Yeah.
Cecil, helping out, stepping in, being the male representation of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get up and go to work every day.
right. And luckily
check.
for you, you had the ability, I guess your mom and having uncles around you gave you the opportunity to see how a man should handle his business. And that's what it is. It's not so much to me. And some people might have a different take on it, but whether it's a father, but seeing how a male goes about his business is important. Whether you had a parent there or not, you need to have a male around you so you can see and reflect
hurt.
and relate to that. But the
can't hurt.
gracious part and the great part about all of that is mom having the wherewithal to allow that to happen. Because in this day and age, in some cases,
Right.
women are saying so many bad things about, oh, your daddy ain't no good, blah, blah, blah. So it taints, the experience of wanting to find a man around because of what you've been led to believe. But back in our day, I don't know if that happened with people. I can't say. Of people saying, well, your daddy ain't no good or whatever, but that could
Right.
possibly be happening. But having,
Well, if he's
still
not
having a
there,
man, yeah, well, still having a man around helped. And it's because you
oh,
did
absolutely.
have,
No, but
yeah.
I'm saying if he's not there, then the negative has to be inferred a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he's not there. Now,
Right.
if he's there and he's kept out, or if he's there and he comes back in and forth, at least he's giving it a shot. But if
Right.
he just, peace, I'm out, then that it's almost assumed that he's negative, barring that he's not in jail or,
Right. Mhm.
whatever, out at war, or something of that.
Right. But but mom steps up 99% of the time. Man.
Right.
They don't play,
Absolutely.
man. I don't care, man. The women and the parents, mothers of my generation, as a child, people I knew, friends, I know parents, moms they were dead on right in what they did. I use Les Mom for example, man. She's the queen bee, man, and it's like the positive influence, that nurturing type of, way, we all got that, and once again, that contrary to what society says about, minority or African-American women, it's entirely wrong to me because I did not experience that. All the mothers that I knew, they were great mothers of everybody on my block, all my friends' homes. Like, so it's like really weird the narrative that goes out there, man. But having dad around, it made a big difference for me, and having good men around. Meeting George Merton, Gil Reynolds, Lester Roberts, Rodney Parker. I could go on and on, man. Mr. Stagmeyer, guys that we coached, and these white guys, black guys, and just watching men go about their business. It's seeing that positive way of doing things was very helpful. I know at least for me. And it makes it tough sometimes for us all, But the narrative is not accurate. We are good men. So that's how I see it, man. It's weird how you have
So do you have any kids?
I have, as the joke goes, too many kids. No, I'm just joking. First of all, I got to say hi to my daughter Cecily. She brought me this cup. I think she loves me and she's joking, but that cup there pretty much says it all. But she loves me. She gave me 2 grandkids, Maddie and Cree. I have a son, Bill, that played ball also, and 3 other daughters, Letitia.
Okay.
I can't remember their names. Letitia, Cecily, and Zoe. So
we won't let any of them see this video.
They're not even. No, it doesn't matter. I can't remember. I can't remember sometimes my wife's name. So it don't matter. They know how bad memory's horrible. I'd be like, what did I come in this room for? And it was like 6, 7. My house ain't that big. I just bought a house down here in Texas. It's not even like a half court. That's how big the house is. Because I don't need that much room. It's like 3 and 2. 3 and 2, living room and all that. It ain't like it's 10 bedrooms or nothing like that. And I was like, what did I come in here for? So I can't remember nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible. It's getting bad. It's not there yet, but it's getting bad. I got to start taking the pills and the E's, the C's and the D's.
I've always been like that, man.
No,
I've always been like that. I have a really, really bad time, and it's like it's known with people's names. And like I run camps and tournaments or practice teams, and it's like, hey, you. And my daughter used to be like, Dad, her name is Sandra. Like, and everybody's hey you. I'm calling everybody hey you. And I don't make an effort to get to know their names for some reason. I just because I'm flowing with stuff. And so I just say hey you, hey you, hey
Sometimes it
you.
doesn't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't click in, and that's okay.
But I think that is a problem. Even though I'm saying that.
It's a problem to you.
Yeah. It's
not really in the general. If you're teaching, the main thing is the information. It should be the information rather than do you remember the young person's name.
Yeah, but I figured after a while, man, it seems like it's a problem because it happens with everybody I meet. And it's like I turn to my wife, like, what is his name again? What is his name again? And it's like it's a bad habit that I guess it flourishes itself because I don't pay attention much to it, you know.
Les, I'm 63. You're 63 also?
No, you turned 64.
64.
You're 64, and E, you're 63 or 64?
Yeah, I'll be 64 this year though, in July.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're the same age. I got, again, going back to what we had to go through real quick. It had nothing to do with ball though. In the 4th grade, I got bused on them yellow buses when everything changed over and people wanted us to go to the better white schools, and our parents and everything went with that. And I got bused. They left me back in the 4th grade, so I had to repeat it. That gave me that extra year because I'm actually the same age as you. I'll be 64 August 3rd, even though I was a year behind you. But because I got left back in elementary school, it wasn't held against me. So I had that extra year of maturing. Sometimes that helps you, you know, like real quick, White Man Can't Jump. I think it's this 30th year, whatever year it is, White Man Can't Jump. One of the things that I love about it is that sometimes when you win, you win. Sometimes when you lose, you lose. Sometimes when you lose, you win. And sometimes when you lose. And that's what happened to me. I got left back. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. But it wound up in the long run, I won, getting that extra year of maturing, getting my grades together, moving on.
And the experience those experiences, they do something for you. You know, I don't look at them as negative. So like you say, we gave it a year for maturity, a year to adjust, a year to kind of like say, whoa, you know, it's not a good feeling, you know, being left behind, you know, just the term itself.
It was bad.
Yeah, just that term itself, it doesn't sound good. You know? And that's why right now I'd like to announce I'm really 67. I got left back 3 times. That's why I know that. You know. But yo, man, listen, man, it's been a really enlightening kind of conversation because he brought questions for us, Les, right? Which was, you know, kind of
I like that.
Yeah. And that means it's prepared, man, you know, but that's that Fordham, you know, education right there.
Well, I had to pay y'all the professionals. I'm the scrubby amateur. Like I said, I'm surrounded by greatness. I gotta just put my game up to try to hang with y'all. That's what I've always done.
Yeah, don't put us in that category, man. We're peers, man.
Guys, I'm good.
I appreciate that, man. But Houn, we're peers, man. Don't put me on no pedestal, please, man. I'm one of the fellas, man. We're all down together, and
I'm real with it. I'm trying to hang with the group.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I
might have got y'all fooled, but I'm trying to hang with the group.
You know what, though, I'm gonna tell you, I wish I would have had the pleasure of playing with you more. You know, we used to pass each other different tournaments, things like that, man. But I think we may have played together a handful of times, you know, and it was more like in the park or something. It wasn't even on a
or
team.
Maybe with George Merton once or twice, maybe. But that was about it.
Yeah, because Houn would have been perfect for us too, right, Les?
Oh yeah.
Because that crew was crazy, man. Me, Les, Phil Seymour, Donald McAllister, Felix, Clarence Thornton. We were some nutcases.
Clarence Thornton,
Yeah, we were some nutcases, man, for real, man. You know, but you know, those guys, man, like no matter who it was, man, all of the programs in Brooklyn, any one of us could have, you know, rolled up and played with any one of the teams, and the respect would have been given, no matter what tournament, whether it's some at the Reese or anywhere, all the way up into the Bronx. You know, when we're representing together, we do what we got to do. And like I said, there's so much respect that we have for each other. Like when we came up to wanting to interview you, it was like it's like every conversation is like it's a no-brainer. I said, yo, Les, man, we gotta do Calhoun. Yeah, man, definitely. I wish I could have played. Les comes out. I wish I could have played with him. He goes all in our conversations of who we're gonna interview. And that's what happens because there's a level of respect, man. And believe me, I understand what you're saying. That's how you feel, man. But little do you know, Calhoun, in our eyes, you were standing with us the whole time. And that's our real truth. That's our real truth. And if it wasn't, like if it was somebody else, and I ain't gonna say no names, then that wouldn't be the case. But but you're in that
I
committee.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
You want me to pull out the article to prove that or what? I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, but the proof is in the pudding, and you know that you're in that class. And really there's no more there's nothing else really more to say. It's kind of like Charles Barkley criticizing Sean Kemp and showing more respect. They both are, deserve their just due. And we appreciate you, man. Especially you come in here with the greatest shirt on, man. That means a lot, man.
I'm telling you, for real.
Especially after what happened
there.
in Louisville, man. Especially after what happened in Louisville the past couple of weeks, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
There's some crazy stuff, man. And I went to JUCO out there,
Prayers
so
go out.
people out there I've been reaching out to see if how they're all faring, man. But back to the issue at hand. William Calhoun, man, it's a pleasure having you on the show. A lot of insight that you brought to the table with respect to everything. And we really appreciate you coming in and spending whatever, the time with us today. Les, any parting words, bro?
I just thought that I was gonna see you in the league though. That was all. That's just all the truth.
That's all right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, definitely, man. So listen, Calhoun, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for showing up to the B&E show.
Thanks for having me.
Let me correct myself, the E&L show. And you take care of yourself, bro, and we'll definitely see you